Lord Mayor, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Jerry Lennon, and as Chief Executive of Visit Belfast, I'd like to welcome you to today's virtual Sustainable Belfast event. It's great to see so many of our partners, stakeholders and colleagues tuned in today, as I know how busy you are as we resume tourism and hospitality operations across the city region. I'd like to extend a warm welcome to the Lord Mayor of Belfast, Councillor Kate Nicholl, for taking the time to join us in our first month as the city's first citizen, and our virtual speakers, Guy Bigwood, Aileen Crawford, Janice Fisher and Andrea Nicholas, dialing in from Barcelona, Glasgow and Edinburgh. I'm also joined here at ICC Belfast by BBC NI's Joe Scott, who will host our panel discussion a little later. A familiar face, Joe has covered many aspects of Northern Ireland life, from news and current affairs to travel and lifestyle. Currently filming Home Ground, BBC Northern Ireland's flagship rural and environmental affairs programme, I know she is well placed to facilitate the conversation on how we start our journey towards an inclusive, resilient and low-carbon city economy. I'm delighted to be joined on the panel to discuss this by Debbie Caldwell, Belfast City Council's first Climate Commissioner, Anya Kearney, Director of Business Support and Events at Tourism NI, and Chris Conway, Chief Executive of TransLink. There's no doubt of the devastating impact that the COVID pandemic has had on our society, industry and our economy. The series of lockdowns, however, provided the time to reflect, reconsider and reimagine Belfast as a place to live, work and visit in a post-COVID world. We're all keenly aware of the need to build back better, and tourism has a key role in that, not only contributing economically, but supporting societal development, building resilience in our communities, and protecting the finite resources and precious environment we live in. As part of the process of reimagining our city in February this year, we presented our 3-year recovery plan, Rebuilding City Tourism. This plan sets out a new direction of travel for Visit Belfast, highlighting the need to focus on sustainable tourism and moving to a greener and more inclusive tourism model for Belfast. And by doing so, demonstrating that our industry is and can be a force for good. A key element of our plan is a new partnership between Belfast City Council, Visit Belfast and Green Tourism. Today sees the launch of Belfast's ambitious sustainability, accreditation and support programme to help our partners achieve an internationally recognised Green Tourism Award, improving our sustainability credentials as a destination and helping our industry compete within the changing marketplace. This is the largest ever green tourism partnership with a destination and a huge statement of Belfast's commitment to building back better the city region's tourism economy. You will hear more about this partnership later, but before we get into presentations and discussions, may I invite the Lord Mayor to say a few words.
As Lord Mayor of Belfast, I am delighted to be with you here today. Climate change is the greatest threat facing the world today. COVID-19 has changed how we think and feel, and it provided us with renewed opportunity and commitment to build Belfast back better. We know that we must all play our part individually, collectively, and societally. Regardless of industry or sector, we all bear responsibility for stopping and reversing the effects of climate change on our planet. Belfast City Council is committed to taking action on climate change, and it is something that I will be focusing on in my year as Lord Mayor. So I'm pleased to be here with you today as you discuss the role the tourism industry can play in transitioning to an inclusive, zero-emissions economy within a generation. Taking urgent action on climate change will not only protect our city's natural environment, but also our built heritage and cultural assets that make this city a wonderful place to live, work, and visit for the betterment of all our citizens and visitors. Action on climate change will also ensure our city receives the economic benefits to be gained from clean energy and zero-emission transport, and a new generation of skills and jobs for the city. In October 2019, Council declared a climate emergency, and since then we have taken steps to reduce our own carbon footprint with a view to becoming a carbon neutral organisation as urgently as possible. Our resilience strategy, the city's first climate plan, was launched last December. This plan lays out a number of measures from climate adaptation to climate mitigation and levers to support the green economy. From that, key citywide structures were set up, such as the Resilience and Sustainability Board, to drive and deliver the resilience strategy, and the Belfast Climate Commission, to act as a think tank and advise on the city's climate action plans. I'm thrilled that Debbie Caldwell, Belfast's first climate commissioner, will be joining the panel discussion later to talk about what council is doing. Tourism is an important economic generator for our city, and I completely agree with Jerry that it can be a force for good. The Belfast Agenda identified tourism as a key driver of future growth and societal development, and that remains the case with Belfast's new 10-year tourism plan due to be launched later this year. Sustainability will be a significant cross-cutting theme within this plan, demonstrating the importance of placing environmental resilience at the heart of our work. With commitment from you, the tourism industry, we will be able to rise to this challenge, tackle the climate emergency before us, continue to support jobs, generate inclusive growth, and protect the city and its environment for future generations of citizens and visitors alike. Today's event is another step on this road, and I'm pleased that Belfast City Council has been able to work with Visit Belfast and Green Tourism to develop the initiative you will hear more about later, so you won't have to go through this journey alone. It's an opportunity for your organizations and businesses to make tangible changes and demonstrate your commitment to sustainable practices and help Belfast to meet the challenges of climate change head on.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. The importance of tourism to the city and regional visitor economy cannot be underestimated. 20 years of tourism growth not only brought many millions of visitors to our city, but it established hundreds of new business enterprises, and with that, many thousand more job opportunities for our resident population. The pandemic has, however, had a lasting impact on traveller behaviour, preferences and values. Today's visitors, event organisers and travel trade are more culturally and environmentally aware, more health conscious, seeking unique, indigenous and shareable experiences, and choosing destinations that demonstrate support for their people, their home place and the planet. To remain relevant in this constantly changing marketplace and be competitive, we need to collectively rethink what a successful tourism destination can offer. I'd like to introduce the aptly titled Chief Changemaker, Guy Bigwood, Managing Director at Global Destination Sustainability Movement, to tell us why we need to act now, how as tourism businesses we can adapt and therefore remain relevant and competitive amidst the paradigm shifts we're seeing in the international tourism market. Guy.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the introduction. My name is Guy Bigwood. I'm here today to talk a little bit about the regenerative revolution, which I think is a real new paradigm for tourism and event management. Just building up on that previous introduction, I'm the Managing Director or the Chief Changemaker of the GDS movement. We're a not-for-profit business that works to help destinations create flourishing and resilient places to visit, meet and live in. We work with about 72 destinations around the world, including Belfast. And you'll hear a little bit more about our work later and what we've been doing with Visit Belfast. But I'm here today to talk a bit about what's happening and the changes and how you guys can take advantages of the opportunities that are opening up in the market right now. I don't have to tell you that we're living through a very powerful paradigm shift. It's probably the biggest change that many of us have ever seen, and perhaps the biggest change in the last 300 years. Everything is changing. Cities are changing, communities are changing, work is changing, people are changing, medicine is changing, technology is changing. You know, our society is transforming. And the big catalyst is this little virus, right? It's COVID. And COVID is totally accelerating sustainability, focus efforts and issues on sustainability. In my 20 years of working in sustainability, I've never seen so much change in terms of actions, commitments and progress than we've seen in the last year. which is incredibly exciting. And I think we're living in this, this real exciting moment, a real revolution of sustainability. As Greta Thunberg says, change is coming whether you like it or not. It's climate change, it's social change. We're seeing governments stepping up. Biden and the US stepping up with climate neutrality targets. China, Germany, UK, over 1,996 municipalities have declared a climate emergency, like Belfast, and have clear goals for net zero, for a net zero future. So this is exciting, and it's transforming the financial markets as well. Last year, we saw a 96% increase in sustainable investing over the previous year. It's really transformative times, exciting times. We see big brands such as Microsoft stepping up, not with sustainability commitments, but going beyond that. So they're going to become carbon neutral. They're going to remove all of their historic carbon emissions. They're going to invest 1 billion in climate innovation. This type of innovation from the brands is exciting. And it's changing tourism as well. In a recent study of 20,000 people by Booking.com, 53% said they want to travel more sustainably because COVID's opened their eyes to human impact on the environment. 69% of the same people are looking to us, the travel industry, to help them support their ability to travel more sustainably. So our tourists are changing. In the events world, in a survey that we did recently with IMEX and Marriott Group, 96% of event professionals said sustainability is critical to the future post-COVID and to recovery. When we started in January 2020, that was 91%. We saw a more than 5% increase through COVID. So these are exciting times. In a survey we did of European destination CEOs, 95% of them said they will be stepping up their sustainability programs. So if you take all that together, this is not just a trend, it's a race. It's a race for destinations, for cities, for brands, for governments to be the most sustainable. And this creates opportunities for you guys. And so I believe that there should be 7 priorities right now for you guys to be competitive and purposeful. Number 1, it's time to rethink, reimagine, and redesign your business future. Look at how you work, get rid of the degenerative practices, and move beyond sustainable. Sustainable is a lot about doing less bad. Really start to think about how do you recover and rejuvenate? How do you become regenerative in the work that you do? So how can you create social change, environmental change, economic change in your communities and the world? So that's a kind of a mind shift change from doing less bads to recovering and rejuvenating. In the past, many of us had sustainability programs in our businesses, but they were kind of add-on. We had a sustainability team, a sustainability initiative. We did a green event. We did a little initiative for sustainable tourism. Well, that needs to flip right now. You need to have sustainability fully integrated into your business strategy. And not a sustainability plan or strategy, but a sustainable business strategy. It just becomes part of who you are. Image here is of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. They give a great framework of 17 goals that you can address. They explain what sustainability is in 17 different ways. So whether you're addressing gender equality, life for land, climate, circular economy, there's an SDG that will help you there. And there's a target defined already that you can pick up and use in your own business. Number 3, I think it's a really important time now to rethink and redesign your value chain. Have a look. Start to, rethink your suppliers and even your clients. How can you collaborate with your competitors? How can you create new joint business models with different organizations, with NGOs, with corporates, with governments, perhaps? How do you create new business models? How do you make sustainable procurement a priority in your organization? You really need to be looking at all elements of that value chain management, because I think some of the biggest opportunities now are the forms of collaboration that we can do. Go circular. A regenerative model is a circular model. So it's time really to look at your brand experience, whether you're a hotel, whether you're a stage set designer, whether you're someone organizing events. What can you do to design out waste and pollution? If you're in a restaurant, how do you design waste and pollution out of the food that you throw away? How can you create that circularity so that food gets given back, the leftover food gets given back perhaps to the farmers who grow your food that you're going to buy from? How do you keep products and materials in use? So whether it's a stage set or a chair in your hotel, how can you keep products and materials in use? How do you recycle them in the right way? How do you design for recycling? How do you design for inclusiveness and diversity? Just bring the social elements into our brand experience. And then lastly, how do we design to regenerate natural systems? So back to the restaurant and the food, how do we compost properly and easily so that that regenerates soil? So this is photos of a great UK company called EcoBooth, who does raising spaces and brand experiences using leftover plastic waste. Look at your local environments. Who can you find to help you do that? Number 5 is about certification. We need badges now. We need to show that we are sustainable. The easiest way is a certification. I think this should be a key part of anyone's strategy right now. Good certifications drive performance, increase efficiency, save costs, and ensure competitivity. The chart on the right is the data from the GDS index, where we assess destinations. And these are the average numbers of all the destinations. So we've got 40% of all hotels in our 72 cities are certified at the moment. 48% of venues, 17% of event organizers. Belfast, you're not there yet, but you have an opportunity right now, and you're going to hear a little bit more about that later. This is a really exciting opportunity for you to leapfrog that and then use certification as a real competitive weapon that makes a difference to your business. 6 is about measuring and reporting. Right now, we need data, we need metrics, and not the old ones we used to use. So in the hotel world, or as a destination world, we used to use hotel beds as an indicator of success. Right now, we need different numbers. So whether you're collecting waste per visitor, community development efforts that you do, local economic development commitment contributions that you're providing, carbon emissions or plastic, there's an indicator that you need to find and develop a target based on that. And lastly here, really, it's about how do we tell stories that educate and inspire? Change is upon us, and we, in this sustainability, in this regenerative revolution, we have an opportunity to tell stories that make people move and get into action. And that's a really great opportunity of building your brand. So those are 7 things. I'll wrap up now. But I think Belfast, in the GDS index, which you'll hear a little bit more about later, you were last but one in terms of performance as a destination. A lot has happened now, and we will see a big jump, like this frog is jumping. And I think you have the possibility to go from a laggard to a leader quite quickly. But that's going to take collaboration. So how do you collaborate and come together to deliver events and tourism that regenerates your business, your communities, and the nature around you? And that's an exciting vision of the future. It's a future that is a zero carbon, circular, and inclusive future. So I'll leave it there. If you'd like to know a bit more about the regenerative revolution, you can download this white paper and feel free to ping me some questions in the chat. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Have a great day.
Well, Glasgow is a huge success story when it comes to sustainability, currently ranked the 4th most sustainable conference destination in the world. I'm delighted to be joined now from Glasgow by Aileen Crawford, head of the Convention Centre there, and Janice Fisher, co-chair of Greater Glasgow's Hotels Associations and general manager of Novotel and Ibis Glasgow. You're very welcome. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Aileen, 4th in the world? You got to be proud of that. Tell us a little bit about your journey.
Oh, thank you so much, and thank you for that kind introduction. And it's very much you're joining us, and we're joining you as part of that Glasgow journey. And we're not there yet. We're still on our journey, but we are very proud of where we've come to as a city. And really looking at where the Convention Bureau started over 5 years ago. We were the first convention bureau to join green tourism and have accreditation as a convention bureau. And we realised that that was hugely important, not just to us, but to our clients and to the delegates that we were attracting to the city. So we were really reflecting that demand from our clients to answer their questions on how to make their conference more sustainable and how could our clients trust that they were coming to a sustainable destination. And we found that green tourism accreditation really gave us that badge of honour, but also that proof and evidence that we were doing the right thing as we were going along. And yes, 4th in the world, the Global Destination Sustainability Index. Guy Bigwood, who you have as your guest speaker as well, has been hugely supportive of the Glasgow journey. We very much saw that as our city going from steam to green, and we're still on that journey today.
So, I mean, I'm sure it's an obvious question, but lessons for us to learn then from you guys?
I think it was for us, it was being able to follow a plan and realise you can't do it all at once. I think that was where we realised that we could manage what we could manage. And as a convention bureau, a huge part of our role is that advocacy role. So we all do well when we are all in it together. It's very much that Team Glasgow approach, and understanding that if we all do our bit, we all look to where we can change even the smallest types of the way we work with food waste, or how we work with our supply chain and the procurement chain. If we all do our bit, then we're all moving the city together. And I think that was a huge lesson learned. And we're still very much partnering and working with our industry partners across the city as the Convention Bureau, and also doing our bit to present the city as a sustainable conference location. So I think that partnership approach and just all working together and sharing that common practice has worked very well for Glasgow.
And November's going to be a busy month. Not to remind you of that, but you've a big conference coming up. What does that actually mean for the city, and what benefits will that reap?
We are hugely proud that Glasgow is the host of the live event that will be the UN Conference on Climate Change. And that really wasn't by accident. It was the UK's opportunity to host. So we had the UK government able to look at a variety of fantastic conference destinations across the country. And they chose Glasgow for many reasons. But actually, the city and the government have wonderful ambitions. Our city council have the ambition to be carbon neutral by 2030. We have the ranking on the Global Destination Sustainability Index, and that was cited as one of the reasons that Glasgow was chosen as host city. So you can see where it all comes together really well, that if you're all looking at how you accreditate, how you talk about your city, what your credentials are, what the government at local and national level are able to do, that can all combine to actually help you win more conference business or attract more visitors to your destination.
So delegates are looking for evidence of sustainability, aren't they?
Very much. The delegate wants to know they can be as sustainable at conference as they are at home. And they want to be able to see that articulated through the restaurants they go to, the hotels they stay in, and they're looking to their conference organiser for proof that that organiser is running a sustainable conference, because that makes them feel better. We've known for years that the business tourism world relies on people travelling. We know that people fly in and they travel to the destination. So we've been very aware for years that we have to come back with those mitigations to say, this is responsible tourism. These delegates are the world-leading researchers. We really want them to come to our destination, but they want to know when they do that, they can trust their host destination, their host venue, and their restaurant to be running their sustainable practices. And it really does help if those restaurants and hotels and venues have accreditation, have information on their website, are very clear about their sustainable practices, because it gives confidence to the delegates to know that they're going to the right places.
Yeah, you can't pay lip service to it anymore. You have to deliver. Janice, let me come to you. I mean, hotels, my goodness, you've suffered throughout the pandemic. Understatement. Why is sustainability so important to your members, do you think?
Well, I do believe that during the pandemic, it's easy to focus on the negative. But that's not a natural position for our industry. And we do want to be seen as taking positive action. Many of us here will have moody teenagers. They grow up, they're our guests of tomorrow, and they demand that we live and breathe in a sustainable way. My teenager watches me taking the bins out and making sure I put everything in the right bin. Our guests are just the same. We can't pay lip service, as you mentioned yourself. We have to walk the walk and talk the talk. But let's also be clear, hotels are not charities. We want to see top line growth, but we also want to see bottom line. And being sustainable will actually save you money. There's so many different suppliers now. There's so much out there that you can pick from. So you can tailor all of your functions towards that end of your business. And even in Glasgow as well, the Convention Bureau do all this work to market the city. 20% of our business pre-pandemic came from convention business. So if we want to grow that in the future, then we need to demonstrate it clearly, because those clients have a choice.
Can I just ask you said sustainability can save you money. Going green can save you money. I mean, I think there's a common misperception out there that going green could possibly add to your expenses.
No, not at all, because even if you look at things like food waste, now anyone who runs a restaurant knows that there's always a little bit left over at the end of the day, and it just goes in the bin. Accor has partnered with Too Good To Go, which is a program to reduce food waste, where you actually sell that leftover stock to anyone who wants to partner and eat in a fresh, sustainable way. At the moment, we're feeding a lot of students in Glasgow this way, and they're very grateful for it.
Brilliant. It's all about innovation, isn't it?
Absolutely. There's technology there, there's entrepreneurs there, but when it is authentic and it comes from the heart, that's what makes the difference.
I love it. And for people that are tuning in today, for hoteliers, for businesses, what advice have you got?
Take part. Don't sit on the fence. Be the leader that your team, that your clients, that your guests want to see. Have a go. You're going to make mistakes. But be clear that it's the green benefits is one example, but you can absolutely have business reasoning for it and financial benefits. We've partnered with Green Tourism, who are on the call today. And part of the reason for that is that our clients want professional third-party accreditation to state that what we do is exactly what we do. They need to see the proof of the pudding. It's not enough just to have a tagline with nothing behind it. So that's why I do believe that, commercially, this is where we need to be now.
Just to recap, what has the GGHA done to support Sustainable Glasgow's aspirations? Give us a few examples, if you will.
Well, this didn't happen overnight, Jo. Our Convention Bureau in the city is world renowned, as you know. I've lost track of the number of awards. Apologies. I'm a proud Ouija. I'll bring up those badges every time, especially when someone mentions a castle and some other city in Scotland. You know, they'd love to have those badges too. But this journey didn't start yesterday. It's something we've been working towards, and we've slowly grown. So don't think you can run, you know, start off with those small changes.
Like what? Give us an example.
So, you know, look at towel recycling. Look at stay over cleaning in your rooms. Is that really what your guest wants today? And if you're already doing it, then tell your guest about it. You know, advertise it. So many aspects of the journey we've been on, we discovered that we're already doing it. We're just not really good at shouting about it.
Ladies, it has been a pleasure to catch up with you today. All the very best for November, and congratulations on all that you're doing for sustainability.
No, thank you, Jo. And fortunately, we don't need subtitles today.
Bye for now.
Happy to be with you. Thank you. Bye.
A very good morning, everyone. I'm Jo Scott, and I'd like to offer a welcome if you're joining us for the session today. As Jerry said, the COVID-enforced pause and exponential growth in interest in sustainability has given us a huge opportunity to build back better and build back greener. And to delve into that a little bit more now, I'm joined in the studio by our panel: Debbie Caldwell, Climate Change Commissioner for Belfast City Council; Anya Kearney, Director of Business Support and Events at Tourism NI; Chris Conway, Group Chief Executive at TransLink; and Jerry Lennon, CEO of Visit Belfast. Thank you all for your time today. You're very welcome. Debbie, let me kick off with you. Belfast's first Climate Change Commissioner. Congratulations on the role.
Thanks very much.
You know, the green recovery that we're all talking about, the post-COVID green recovery, what does that actually mean in practice?
Well, thanks, Jo. It's really nice to be here. I guess a green recovery for me is one that is good for the economy, it's good for the environment, good for the climate, creates lots of jobs, and basically makes Belfast a better place to live and to visit. And I think, excuse me, you know, tourism and city tourism in particular has been really, really badly affected by the pandemic. And, you know, I think that downturn is set to continue for a few months more. And I think the last thing I want to do is sit here and come up with a whole raft of green solutions that are really, really expensive for businesses. So I think it's really important that we actually listen to what businesses are telling us, and that we really, really get behind the industry as it's coming out of this really difficult time. Now, that being said, I do think it is an opportunity here. I mean, it is a chance to kind of reflect and think perhaps about doing things a bit differently. And I do think, you know, there's an opportunity here for tourism really to be the central plank of a green recovery in Belfast. And I think we've all got a role to play there. I think, you know, as a government, you know, I think we need to sort of play that enabling role. For example, making Belfast more walkable, more attractive for visitors. I think that's really important. I think all the cycleways and the footpaths and all the kind of bike hire schemes that have sprung up across the city are just fantastic. And this green infrastructure is really great because it kind of creates these wildlife corridors that connect up lots and lots of bit of green sort of habitat across the city, and that's really, really good for enhancing biodiversity.
Well, you said that we all have a role to play. I mean, is your role, your new role, designed to kind of supercharge the sustainability agenda?
Yeah, I think it is. I think there's a lot going on across the city already, but I think, you know, there's a massive challenge here. There's a challenge on two fronts. You know, on the emissions side, Belfast emits around 1.5 tons of carbon dioxide every year. And if we're going to play our part in kind of bringing temperature down by 1.5 degrees, you know, in line with the Paris Agreement, that means we've got to cut emissions in Belfast by 9% every year, starting now.
And how achievable is that?
Well, I think it's only going to be achievable if everybody gets behind it. You know, we really need residents, we need businesses, we need the charity sector, we need kind of like communications and the media to really get on board with this and really galvanise. I think you know, we need to move from that kind of talking shop to actual practical action. But I mean, there's fantastic things going on across the city already. I mean, we've got the first city climate plan. We've got 30 programs already underway. I mean, over the coming months, we're going to be engaging really intensively with our city partners, ramping up climate action and these 30 programs, rolling them out. So, you know, I think there's lots to be done here, and I think it is achievable. I just think everybody needs to kind of get their shoulder to the wheel.
Yeah, the sky's the limit, but we've got lots of work to do.
Absolutely.
And briefly, what will a sustainable Belfast look like for you?
Well, I guess if you're asking me, you know, what businesses can do, for example, what the tourism sector can do, I would say there's 3 really, really simple things that businesses can do. First of all, like ramp up the recycling and cut down on the single-use plastics, containers, cutlery, etc. The second thing is like source food locally. I mean, there's great food here in Northern Ireland, and I think, you know, we really need to get behind our local farmers and our local producers, local supply chains. And the third thing is buildings. Massive inefficiencies there around buildings, heating, lighting, etc. And these things are really simple and easy to fix. And they don't cost much. I think technology can help, but I think the real key is those simple behavioural changes. And, you know, this is a journey that we're going on as a council ourselves. So I think collectively we can really kind of work on this together and achieve quite a lot.
Grasp the low-hanging fruit.
Exactly.
Anya, let me come to you next. In your world, in the world of tourism, where do you see us going over the next decade in terms of sustainability, and how will it impact on you?
Well, I think, Joe, sustainability has always been at the heart of the exceptional growth that we've experienced here in Northern Ireland. I mean, we had 7 years of year-on growth to 2019, you know, surpassing our targets of becoming a £1 billion economy and employing over 70,000 people. And when we look at projects like Titanic Belfast and the Giant's Causeway Visitor Centre being the first BREEAM certified major attractions in Northern Ireland, and commitments like those that were made around the Open becoming the first ever major golf tournament to have bottle-free water on course, I think we have definitely started on that journey. But what we definitely know is that there's a number of key things coming together. You consumers were already very focused on this. We know there was a focus on biodiversity, on climate change. We just have to look at the disasters that happened in 2019 before we even entered into the pandemic. But what we have seen from consumer research, it's saying that the pandemic has very much changed people's, I suppose, appreciation of the great outdoors, and they're becoming much, much more conscious in terms of their choice, in terms of where they're spending their time, where they're spending their money, and how they want to give back to more than just themselves. They want to give back to local communities. They want to ensure that the choices they are making are not going to be damaging to the environment. So all of that is, I would say, out with the changes that we've experienced from COVID, means that as we start to build back, as Jerry has talked about earlier today, we will have to build back in a very, very different way, because first and foremost, that's what consumers are going to demand from businesses. But we've also seen that businesses themselves are entering into this position of more conscious corporate decision making, but also more smarter decision making, because to the points that we've heard today, there's opportunities for approaching business in a much more sustainable and greener way to actually drive competitiveness, to drive increased bottom line, and I suppose back to that whole point of what the consumer wants with, to ensure that it enables sustainable, profitable growth.
And that's what it's about at the end of the day, isn't it?
Absolutely. And then finally, from a policy perspective, and I'm sure we'll hear from Chris and others, I think that's where we need to recognise that sustainability has to be central to everything that we're doing. We have big commitments in the UK in terms of our net zero by 2050. We know Programme for Government has already started to outline key targets that tie back to both a greener economy, but probably more important about us making sure we enrich the lives of our communities by protecting our environment, as well as looking at the economic opportunities.
But there's big challenges to all of that.
There are practical challenges. I think the first thing is understanding what it is collectively we're doing, but also understanding that there's very simple measures that each of us can take. We've heard a lot about today about the opportunities you can to become a better, greener business, but I think we also have an opportunity to go beyond that. It's beyond the environment. It's about ensuring that we embrace the opportunities with local communities to be part of the tourism ecosystem. Many people will have heard about our Northern Ireland Embrace a Giant Spirit brand. So much about that is about delivering authentic, immersive experiences. And the community that have come on board and provided really, really exceptional, authentic experiences for visitors have a newfound, I suppose, opportunity to get involved in tourism businesses. It allows us to look at spreading tourists around the whole of Northern Ireland rather than them just maybe being in honeypots. That helps us deal then with protecting our environment to ensure that everybody's not going to the one place. So there's a real opportunity for us to come together in a new way, in a way that I believe that we've demonstrated before we can do well, but in the context of a new ambition, which is one where visitors, community and businesses alike are looking to enrich each other's lives.
Thank you, Anya. And Chris, let me come to you next. It is, as Anya said, about working together. And TransLink, I suppose, has a vital role to play in the sustainability agenda. What are your plans as an organisation going forward? What have you done already?
Well, transport is very much the lifeblood of any city, and I think if we're going to visit any city, we always want to find out how we're going to get from A to B and what's going to happen, and how we get to different tourist attractions, and we always think about transport. So whenever someone's visiting Belfast, that's what they want to see. But more and more people, the sustainability agenda, during COVID-19 has really risen up in prominence. And people, when they come to see Belfast, they want to see, is it cleaner? Does it have a way to travel around the city which is zero carbon? And how do they do that? And from a public transport perspective, what we're doing is we've a plan to decarbonise public transport in Belfast by 2030. We've actually got our first 3 hydrogen buses out on the network now. And they're the first hydrogen buses in Ireland. And the first hydrogen refuelling station in the island of Ireland is now in Belfast Harbour. And that's what we use to run those vehicles. And the hydrogen for that comes from Antrim Hills through a wind farm. So it's completely clean hydrogen. And we also have 100 buses on order with Wrightbus for both battery electric and hydrogen buses. That's a third of the Belfast Metro's fleet is currently in production to be zero emission, and they'll be in service over the next 18 months. And then we've a plan, as I say, to roll out that in its entirety across our fleet to be zero carbon.
So huge strides forward.
Yeah.
Lots more to be done. How do we compare to other cities who've embarked on the same kind of journey?
Well, a lot of cities are already embarking on this. I mean, I would say that when we roll out those 100 vehicles, that will be the 4th biggest zero-emission fleet in the UK. So we're quite far advanced in terms of what we're doing. We've also got Glider Phase 2 in the works as well with Citydale, and they're currently hybrid vehicles, and they will be zero-emission vehicles as well. And we're also rolling out a contactless ticketing system, which will be very much tap on, tap off right across our whole network, making it very easy for tourists to come and use public transport.
Are you pleased with the speed of progress?
I'm pleased with the leadership position that we're taking from a public transport perspective. But in terms of being zero carbon, in terms of our transport in Belfast, there's a lot more needs to be done. We have to get modal shift for people onto public transport and onto sustainable transport like cycling and walking. We have to, while we're doing a lot of things to attract people onto sustainable transport modes, we also have to have policies which actually reduces the number of cars that are coming into the city, particularly cars with single-use cars, as I say to them, coming into the city. Yeah. And that means there are hard decisions that need to be taken from a policy perspective. There needs to be decisions taken around the amount of car parking there is in the city centre, both on street and surface car parking. There needs to be decisions taken around which there's already a number of cities across the UK doing this, and in Dublin as well, looking at congestion charging zones and looking at clean air zones as well. More pedestrianisation, as we said, making it easier for tourists to get around the city, but see that it's a clean city. It's clean to walk around, and you can easy access to cycling, and also charging as well, not just charging for cars, but charging for what we're seeing now, which is micro-mobility, scooters and different technologies which people are going to use to get around the city in a sustainable way. So I think there needs to be a joined-up approach to all of that to make sure we have a transport plan that works for the city and will be a sustainable city for people to come and see.
There's a bit of a theme going on here, Jerry, isn't there? It's all about, working together for the greater good. There's no doubt that we've been on a hugely successful path of tourism growth for many years. Some brilliant successes along the way under our belt. How do we maintain that momentum? How do we continue to grow in a sustainable way? And what benefits will that ultimately bring?
Okay. Well, there are a couple of points in your question there, Joe. The first one is that there is no plan B. This is a journey that we have to take, and we have to gain pace and gather pace along it if we are to remain both competitive and relevant in the tourism marketplace. That's the first thing. Second thing is we aren't starting from a standing still position. We've heard from Chris the good work TransLink are doing, the work that TNI are doing, and the fact that Belfast City Council have led the way in terms of the Sustainability and Resilience Board, the Climate Commission, and the appointment of a Climate Commissioner means that we have a direction of path, a direction of travel and a path and a framework. So we're not starting from zero base. The good news is we in Visit Belfast and our partners have already started on this journey, and we've made great progress. Last year, Belfast City Council and Visit Belfast joined GDS, Global Destination Sustainability Movement, and index. And this is the world-leading benchmarking and performance improvement program. And you'll not be surprised to know that when we joined it and we were assessed as a destination in terms of our environmental, societal, and destination management sustainability criteria, that we were 47th out of 48 cities. The good news about that is there's only one way, and that's up. Yeah. And also part of the process is that we are now very clear about what are the actions that we as a city need to take to accelerate our progress compared to other cities. And out of the 40 actions that have been recommended that we want Belfast and Visit Belfast to do, we have categorised and identified about 4 what I would call super problem solvers, if you like. And these are within our control of influence, if not total control, and they will help us accelerate our progress. And the first one starts with us in Visit Belfast. As the city's DMO, we have to lead by example. We can't just talk the talk, we've got to walk the walk. And we've got to become an exemplar of the new generation of DMOs. And what that means is we've got to embed sustainability in everything that we do. And our board in February of this year approved a 3-year plan of recovering city tourism. And part of that was embedding sustainability in our core mission statement, in our operations, and in our KPIs. And thus far, this is now the end of June, and in the first quarter, what we have done is we have approved a new sustainability policy for Visit Belfast and amended our procurement policy. We have are in the process of appointing a sustainability and impact manager to monitor our impact and make sure that what we do has a positive impact on society and the environment. Thirdly, we have created an internal sustainability team to come up with ideas about how we as a city and how we as an organisation can improve our sustainability. The importance of that is that by the end of this quarter, we had a target that we would receive our first Green Tourism Award and be a certified sustainable DMO. And I'm pleased to announce that we have just received that recognition. Brilliant. So that's our first step on this journey. Yeah. The importance of that, I should say, is that we need, as leaders of the tourism industry in Belfast, we've got to, if we are to encourage our tourism businesses to come along with us, we've got to show that we are prepared to take these changes. And the second key initiative that Belfast City Council and ourselves have done or have taken is joined in partnership with Green Tourism. And this initiative has set a target that by the end of 2020, 50% of Visit Belfast tourism businesses will have committed to being in a green tourism accreditation programme. And this will grow to 80% by 2024. Now that creates a unique selling proposition and a point of difference for us as a city in this new marketplace that we heard from Guy.
Yeah.
So those are two key quick steps or quick wins that we can do that will actually propel us to the top, or not, if not to the top, at least through that league table that I referred to. And finally, what I would like to see would be at the end of 2022 that Belfast would be recognised as one of the fastest improving sustainable tourism destinations in that league table. In terms of benefits, I would say that's very simple and very clear. If we were to remain competitive and relevant in this tourism marketplace, we've got to, and to get tourism performance back to the levels where it was in 1920, where we had £500 million spend in our local economy, sustaining 21,000 jobs. We have no choice. This is what we have to do. But with the added benefit to know that that £500 million is contributing directly to the social well-being of our communities and to protecting our environment. That's the size of the prize for us.
There are so many gains, and as you say, no plan B. If we're to fast forward 3 years, Jerry, to 2024, not to put you on the spot, but what would you like to What would you like to see?
Well, if you are putting me on the spot, I suspect what I would like would be that Belfast would be known as a global leader in sustainable tourism.
Yeah.
That might sound ridiculous at this stage. However, when you consider that we are global leaders in fintech, in advanced manufacturing, in cybersecurity, why not sustainable tourism? In 2018, we were Lonely Planet's #1 destination in the world. We were National Geographic's Rising Star of City Breaks. Indeed, this building was the #1 conference venue in the UK. Why not be a global leader in sustainable tourism? It's simply a mindset. And I think, as Debbie said, it's really about every individual, organisation and government saying this is our goal. And if we do, and if we are a leading leader of sustainable tourism, just think of the economic impact that will have for the citizens of our city.
Absolutely. It's huge. If I could just tap into you all now, very briefly, the low-hanging fruit for you in terms of sustainability?
I think taking action today. I think it's simple, and I think that the initiatives that we've heard about today, that Visit Belfast will be leading on with green tourism and others, provides a mechanism for people to understand the things they should be working to, as well as very practical advice. We'll also be rolling out extensive programmes to the industry over the next 12 months to help them understand that. I think people are a bit, confused sometimes when it comes to what it is we're talking about. But as we've heard today, they're really, really simple steps, and every single one of us, whether as individual citizens or as businesses, can start to take action now.
Briefly, Debbie.
I think it's just what everyone's been saying. It's a collective endeavour, and like Chris was saying, we need to join up across the whole spectrum here. I mean, we need the policies, and we need the strategies and the plans, and the actual concrete actions on the ground. And we need everyone from all sectors to kind of really roll their sleeves up now and start to sort of take action on some of those things, because I think there's been a lot of talking about it and a lot of analysis, and I think at some point you just have to get on with it.
You gotta get stuck in and do it. Chris, would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, transport is the biggest carbon emitter in Belfast. That's our biggest carbon emitter.
Yeah.
And people need, in the same way people now have got used to recycling and doing things and say, look, that's part of my sustainable objectives and part of the things I do. They need to recognise that how they use transport is part of their sustainable objectives. And therefore they need to think about, not just jump on the car because it happens to be in your drive. Think about that journey, and could I do it a different way? Could I cycle? Could I walk? Could I use public transport? And, particularly as we building back from COVID, a lot of people are still working from home. So before they start to decide what their commute journey is going to look like, why not think about saying, well, 1 or 2 days a week, I could maybe use a different mode. And that's a way just to start thinking about it. And once you use a different mode once or twice a week, then it starts to make you think about it and make you challenge, other aspects of how you use transport.
It's a very visible sign of sustainability, isn't it, at the end of the day?
It is. And every time you turn that key in that car, you're emitting carbon.
Yeah.
So if you can find a way not to do that, then you're helping sustainability.
Yeah.
And I think that's a simple thing that everybody could start thinking about right now.
Big message to us all, and not just for tourists coming in, but for residents
Yeah.
alike. Jerry, the last words go to you on that one. Low-hanging fruit, just to recap.
Well, low-hanging fruit for us in terms of progressing our level of sustainability, I think, as Anya Debbie has said, it really is a collective action. No one organisation and no one sector can do this. We've got to do it together.
Yeah.
And I think it's simply the attitude, which is an acceptance that this is, as the Lord Mayor said, our number one priority in this city to improve our sustainability. If we achieve that within the next 6 to 12 months, then that is half the battle. A good start is half the journey.
Indeed. Huge potential, huge opportunities if we put sustainability, as you say, at the heart of everything. Thank you all so much for that today. Thanks for your time. Back to you, Jerry.
Thank you, Joe, for hosting the interviews and panel discussions. There are plenty of positive actions and commitments being made. And we know that sustainability is nothing new for many of our partners, and many of you are well ahead in adapting more inclusive and environmentally friendly practices within your organisations. It's clear that we're not just starting this journey from a standstill position. And as a determined and resilient city, few places are better positioned than Belfast to meet the challenges ahead. As Guy referred to, we have potential to improve, and I'm confident that we can leapfrog all the other destinations to climb the ranks of the GDS index. Whilst our goal of growing tourism for our city and industry partners remains number one, Visit Belfast is stepping up to the challenge and putting sustainability and inclusive growth at the heart of our organisation and supporting our partners to do the same. We know that improving sustainability credentials will be key to securing business in the new normal. That's why securing an independent third-party accreditation from a recognised authority is so important. That's where partnership with the Green Tourism comes in. If I can introduce Andrea Nicholas, Chief Executive of Green Tourism, to explain how your business can benefit from accreditation and get involved through this partnership. Andrea.
Hello everybody, and thank you for that lovely introduction. It is a real pleasure to be invited to present at today's event, and we're very excited to be partnering with Visit Belfast and the City of Belfast Council to help deliver your bold and ambitious green tourism plans for the city. Your commitment to greening your tourism businesses and your destination is at a level I've not experienced before and is truly to be commended, and hopefully a fantastic example to other destinations. I am the founder and chief executive of Green Tourism, and today I'm just going to give you an overview of what the Green Tourism Standard means and how you can get involved in the process. Green tourism is internationally recognised and established over 25 years ago. During those 25 years, we've undertaken thousands of assessments of many different business types, from hotels and visitor attractions, self-catering, retail, events and meetings venues. And we currently have about 2,500 members, mostly in the UK, but actually we also have representation in 22 different countries. As I said, we're working with some of the UK's leading brands and have done for many, many years. We asked Conal O'Neill, the Group General Manager at Dalata Hotel Group, what green tourism meant to him. And he said the Green Tourism Standard enhances our RFPs, submissions, and demonstrates to meetings and events buyers that we are serious about sustainability. And I think that's where the green tourism credibility and reputation comes from, those many years of experience, but that credibility and robust process that is well respected within the corporate market. The green tourism criteria is based on 3 pillars: caring for people, caring for places, and caring for our planet. And across those 3 pillars, we have 15 specific goals, which cover our 70 criteria measures, all of which are aligned to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Within the people goals, we focus on how you communicate and raise awareness with your visitors, your staff, your suppliers, and how you engage with your local community and support your local community. Also, how you are promoting health and well-being for your visitors, and how you deal with equality, diversity, and inclusivity within your business. The place's goals are very much focused on the destination, the cultural and heritage of where you are based, the experiences that your visitors can get involved with, and how they can travel to and within your destination in a lower carbon way. It's also about promoting the fantastic local food and drink that's available within your area and destination. And again, how you are working to promote and conserve and increase the amount of biodiversity. The planet goals are very much focused on resource efficiency, saving money, and again around reducing your energy use, water conservation, waste minimisation, that covers food waste as well, and reducing your carbon footprint and minimising the amount of chemicals that you use within your business. So the criteria are very flexible, they're very appropriate and can be applied to many different business types. And what we've done is we've actually developed an online portal called Green Check to help you prepare for your assessment. So it has a login page which you can navigate around, and you can also ask for help and support from our technical team. Once you're actually in the portal, you get access to the dashboards. So you'll recognize this from the previous slide. It's our criteria, our goals around the 3 people, places and planet. And this is an interactive dashboard. So it's something that you will use to work your way through those 70 criteria and provide information on what you're doing and provide yourself with an action plan on how to improve. And as you work your way through it, the dashboard will show in real time what you're scoring towards achieving either a bronze, a silver or gold green tourism standard. Once you're actually accessing one of the goals, so for instance, if you go into the carbon goal, you'll get the different criteria that are relevant within that goal, and you select an option that's relevant to your business and what you're doing within your business, and provide evidence within the evidence box that pops up. And that evidence can be a web link, it can be a description, it can be information about what you're doing with your staff training, but it's information that will be used by the assessor to verify what you're doing and help towards achieving your standard. Once you're ready and have worked your way through all of the goals and you're ready to go for that assessment, then you click submit for assessment, and then our assessors will be alerted. They'll get onto the tool, they'll start to look through the kind of information that you've provided, but they'll then be in touch with you. They'll probably organise an interview and if necessary, a site assessment. And from all of that information, additional evidence they might ask for, they will actually establish what level of the award of the standard that you are likely to achieve. Also within the tool, we have an awful lot of built-in online support and information which you can access. So you can work your way through the tool at your own pace and in your own time. And when you're in one of the criteria pages, you can actually ask using the I function for more information and guidance. So this is around food and drink, and it's got links in there. It might have information to a link to web pages, or to fact sheets, or to guidance on other information on how you can implement those measures. Also within the portal, we have an interactive query process. So if you really can't get the answers from the information, you can actually send us a direct message, like this person here is asking, how do I work out my food miles? And that query will come back to us back in headquarters. We'll allocate it to one of the technical team, and they will be back online to give you the support and advice that you need. And the good thing about this is all of these questions backwards and forwards and information that you're collecting is saved automatically within the portal. So you can access it, but you can also share it with other of your colleagues and other people that have got access to the portal. You also, as you're working your way through the different criteria areas, you will be prompted to potentially add something to an action plan if you haven't started doing something already. You can edit the action plan, you can add in your own notes, and you can use this action plan to monitor and measure and review your progress as you're working your way through the criteria. As you work your way through, you can change it from identified, in progress, and then finally completed. and provide information again, how you've completed that information, the criteria. And again, that information is used by your assessor to actually verify the measures that you're doing. And all of the, again, the same as the queries, all of the information you're putting in the action plan, sharing with others, is downloadable, a CSV or an Excel file, so you can print it off if necessary. I've mentioned the technical support team. They've always been a very core part of our offering and our services, and that includes our assessment team. Our assessors are all trained to IEMA standards. They're qualified environmental specialists, and they're there to help you, not just to support you for queries that you might put in through the Green Check portal, but also to provide advice on the phone or through Zooms or Team, through training they might put on for you, or webinars, again, to share the best practice. And we have 25 years worth of best practice examples of what people have done, all the different types of businesses that I mentioned. So we hopefully will be able to give you the advice that's specific and relevant to your business. And we've also got hundreds of case studies that we can share with you to show you how other people have implemented it. And many of this information is also available online through our Knowledge Hub and our fact sheets. So what does the Green Tourism Standard actually mean? What can you say if you've got a Green Tourism Standard? It identifies you as having been independently certified. So it's not just you saying that you're a green business, it's actually an independent third party has come in and checked that you are doing what you say you're doing. And as I said, you are assessed by qualified assessors. That you've made a commitment to continuous improvement. So it's not just something that you do once and then forget it. It's actually something that's been constantly reviewed and updated, and having regular reassessments. The Green Check tool is there available for you to use all the time. And even once you've achieved a standard, you can continue to put information in that and work towards upgrading and improving your scores. And it is also the label of choice for over 2,500 leading tourism businesses. So next steps, if you are interested in getting involved with green tourism, achieving one of the standards, please check out our website. There's a specific page that we set up for Visit Belfast, the link's there. If you want any help or support, want to find out more about what's involved, please get in touch with us. We're very happy to explain the process, provide you with information before you finally commit. Once you are ready, there's an online application form, simple for you to fill out. We'll give you access to the Green Check portal, support you through your preparing for your assessment, and then helping you hopefully to go through the assessment and be successfully achieve a green tourism standard. So really happy to be involved in the event today. If you've got any queries or anything, please get in touch. The team will be very happy to help you. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. The Green Tourism Award Programme, supported by Belfast City Council and Visit Belfast, recognises the commitment of tourism businesses who are actively working to become more sustainable, and provides an important internationally recognised award. We have a bold ambition to have 50% of our tourism and hospitality businesses committed to going for a Green Tourism Award in the next 12 months, supporting a green recovery and positioning Belfast as a sustainable destination. To support this goal and tourism recovery, Belfast City Council is funding Visit Belfast partners within the council area to join green tourism free of charge if you sign up in the next 12 months. And we will be in touch after today's event for businesses to register your interest. We will also be organising a series of workshops with green tourism in the coming months to work through the process and answer any questions you may have. Partnership and collaboration have always been central pillars of the Visit Belfast model, and it's only by facing these challenges together that we will succeed in rebuilding tourism to the Belfast City region for the benefit of businesses, our employees, our visitors, and most importantly, our citizens. I hope you found today useful, and I sincerely hope that you will join us on this journey towards a rejuvenated and regenerated Belfast City region. I'd like to thank the Lord Mayor and Belfast City Council for their ongoing support of the tourism industry, our guest speakers and panellists who've joined me today, to Joe for facilitating the discussion and interviews, and thanks also to ICC Belfast for hosting today's virtual event. Thank you.